once had a rocket with a tip of engine red. I lit it in a field of gold, stood back and watched it float overhead, just like I'd imagined, just like Mama said.
All right, I like to leave the discovery of conversation in the interview. So rather than go do a big bio, I'm going to introduce my next guest. I think this is episode 12. I think I did write that down. It doesn't matter. But I got to talk to several musicians, a lot of whom I've known and played with locally, and I'm starting to branch out more and find people that are acquaintances and associates, but I may not have gigged with 300 times, right? So, Kat, I really appreciate you joining me here.
Thanks. And I'm super excited to be here.
And I have your bio here, a very long list of a very impressive career and accomplishments, and I'm going to let that be revealed in the conversation. But what I'm really curious about with all musicians is what the beginning spark, whatever it was that made you fall in love with music and obviously want to do it all the time, right?
Wow. That's a really big question. I mean, I think it wasn't necessarily a spark. It's more been a gradual ride, I think, for me. I at first, I mean, I remember even about 10 years ago kind of thinking like I was just an accidental musician. I grew up in a really small town in Wisconsin, and I mean, so small that I mean, I'm a vocalist and a songwriter. And I didn't even know you could take voice lessons. Like I didn't know that was a thing, because like in my little town, you could either sing or you couldn't sing. And I didn't know that there was so much to learn about the voice, about helping people learn how to use their voices, about music in general. I'd played piano since I was a little kid, and I'd always loved it. And when it went to time to go to college, I actually really wanted to be a graphic designer and be an animator for Disney. That was actually my dream when I was a kid. But I didn't really take any art classes. And so when I went to look at school, they really want an art portfolio. And I didn't even understand what that was, because I didn't understand, like, again, small town, not really understanding the world. But I'd done music. And so, yeah, I auditioned for exactly one school. I told my parents I auditioned for 3, or I sent in application materials, but I only did one. And I got in, which was Lawrence University in Appleton, Wisconsin. And yeah, I think it was just, I'm a pretty organized, driven person. And, if someone gives me a task or tells me I can't do something, I'm usually kind of like, well, I'm going to show you that I can do that. And that came about in different ways when I was there, and eventually kind of transferred to when I transferred to the Manhattan School of Music after my sophomore year in college. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because the story is always different for everybody. So and like the last interview I did was with a singer from Bangalore, South India. So his experience was totally different than mine, and different than everybody I've talked to. So you did take piano lessons as a child, right? So
yeah, since I was probably like in second grade or something. We had a piano at home. My dad is an amateur jazz pianist, and my mom was always singing. I mean, there was music in our house. Yeah, okay. It just, nobody did it as a career. Like I don't have any family members that do music like anywhere in my family, like extended lines anywhere. I'm the only one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It I wasn't from a small town in Wisconsin, but from a small town in Michigan.
Similar.
Midland, Michigan, it was not a huge place. I moved around a lot as a kid though, so I did see have experience like the music store scene. As far as your first piano lessons, and you said you continued on, and like it just kept your interest enough, right? That when you
Yeah, I mean, I did piano lessons. I was in choir. I was in the show choir, which I don't know if anybody does those anymore, but like, dancing and singing, like,
yeah,
in high school. And I mean, I was in the musicals. I mean, I stayed musical. Like it was always a big, I think, part of my identity. And I played for, at the time, I mean, I would play for the pageant at church every Christmas, all the songs and stuff. Like that was kind of the thing
right,
in the small town. But I mean, yeah, it just I got my head handed to me, or my hands handed to me, when I went to Lawrence. And she was amazing. She's a professor now at Stony Brook University out here in New York. And her name is Christina Dahl. And I was taking a 1 credit kind of like non-major piano lesson. And I was trying to learn this Debussy piece, which was like this 3 against 2 kind of complicated thing. And man, I didn't practice. I didn't even know what practicing really was. And I walked into her studio and I murdered the piece. Like I just like, it was cruel. Like people were probably screaming. And she got angry. And I'd never had a teacher like get angry at me for not doing music. My piano teacher was very nice and like, just, practice some more, it'll be okay. And this was really the first, and she wasn't, I mean, I was a voice major. So this was just something I was kind of like in my head. I was like, well, this is just for fun. Like, I just want to keep playing the piano. I'm singing all the time. Like, but yeah. And I left her studio and I just like crumbled. I like collapsed into a pool of tears outside her studio. And then, like I said before, I just was like, something in me was like, she's totally right. You didn't work at all. And I was like, fine, I'm going to show her. So then I started practicing piano every day. I would get up and go over to the music building. It opened at 6, and I would get in and I would practice my piano for an hour. And, and then the following 2 weeks later, and I had a lesson, I came in and she was like, you practiced. I was like, well, you got mad at me. Like, and then that spilled into, I was spending an hour at piano, but I was a voice major and I wasn't really practicing singing. Yeah. So then I was like, oh, I should practice singing for twice as long. Yeah. So that turned into what eventually turned into like a 3-hour practice session every morning for the entirety of my undergraduate career. And it didn't stop when I moved to New York City. I would get up at 5. Yeah. I lived on 101st Street and Broadway when I first moved here, and Manhattan School of Music is 121st. So it's a 20 block, which is, anyone who doesn't live in New York, it's a mile walk. Yeah. And I didn't have much money, so I walked it at 5:30 in the morning because the school opened at 6 and I had class at 9. So I got in, I did my work, and I went to class. So yeah, I'm just kind of, I don't know what drove me to do it. It was, I mean, I liked it definitely, but something, yeah.
I know you don't have it figured out, even though they think that you do. You've reached the age where society tends to give up on those like you. I'm here to tell you, age is just a number they proclaim. Your worth cannot be measured by any lines upon a page. So maybe you doubt, and maybe you're afraid another day. And it's okay if you don't get it all figured out before you die. 'Cause I don't know anyone who succeeded if they failed to even try. So make your choices based on what you have right now, and take your chances on things that might not last. I'll keep on loving you, even when you fall down hard. And I'll keep on loving you, even when you're hiding in the dark. Even when you're hurt.